bot and mid. We'll need to see if we have a similar draft, and definitely need to track what Revolta gets his hands on in this draft.
100%, because already that's the top lane and jungle duo that took them out. The Na and the Lee Sin both erased, and that just leaves a big hole in that top side of the map.
That's what you do if you get beaten by a team. The best way to adapt is actually just to get rid of the comfort picks. What worked last time, force them to adapt at least. Keep, obviously, the tournament meta in mind. We have high priority on Nidalee, and at least with Nidalee out, Lee Sin out, there's a good chance EDG may go for an early Elise pickup.
The Aurelion Soul ban, we've been seeing a lot more of that just generally lately, and won't be making an appearance this time around. INTZ back to them for the first, or the final ban, I should say.
You also never know, because Clearlove is a guy that just loves his Skarner, so he may just buck to Dread and then pick the Skarner.
Yeah, Skarner's still running around, Evelyn's running around, checking out his solo queue. He's also got some Kha'Zix games in there, still undefeated on Kha'Zix and solo queue, as well as competitively this year, so he really does play anything. The Hecarim is also the big pick, because if they want to go team fight, they will lock that in.
Yeah, we've already seen some of that, of course. And EDG, you know, they haven't lost a game since they did to INTZ here, and with that Aurelia banned away, Syndra's left open, but we've seen a bit less of it prioritized this week.
Yeah, Syndra's still a very strong mid laner though, especially in that matchup here. We could see Scout just go to town on Talkers, and he'll have a hard time dealing with this very oppressive pick. We'll likely see if Vladimir come out, but he has an item spike point with the Spirit Visage where the matchup goes even, but if Syndra gets paired with a really aggressive jungler, it's very hard to take control of that lane, and that could snowball into different lanes.
Yeah, and that's what we're expecting. Whenever Scout picks up something with the priority in mid lane, can get that shove, you expect him to go top lane and help out Mouse. We saw it in the one Scout victory already, and that is something historically EDG has done well.
But INTZ is definitely looking at Mouse in the top lane too. One, they got rid of the Aurelia, which he played last game. Didn't want him to play that again. And then they got rid of like the comfort top lane pick of the tournament, which is Poppy. Can be played in a lot of losing matchups, can fall behind, but because of the margin of error that the champion gives you, you can have a high impactful teleport ganks in team fights. And that is kind of a style that EDG historically have liked playing.
Yeah, it certainly is. They want to get 5 members in the bottom lane. They want to be able to clean up those team fights. And I like the fact that, you know, when the Na ban came out, it's like, all right, if we're going to play carry, this guy's playing carry as well, not letting him go back to a comfort of a tank.
Absolutely not. And on the side of INTZ, they lock in the Alistar. We've seen some big plays made with that. Question marks, though, to see if Joxer's going to be up to that challenge.
Yeah, the goal for INTZ is to have serviceable mid and bot lane here that can survive, while Revolta gets a good jungle matchup that he can then translate the pressure into the top lane. With the Alistar pickup, it can get beaten by a lot of range supports. Deft and Mako have shown an affinity for lane bullying overall, but if they match melee versus melee, then maybe Mikau and Joxer will be just fine enough to go even.
Yeah, and you know, the funny thing is we have seen a lot of that Nami come out of Mako at the moment. That would be the lane bully. However, they do like playing Tahm Kench into it in the Chinese LPL. You're looking for the aggressive level 2, you're looking for the Q and the W and stunning them up.
Yeah, still a favorable lane for the Tahm Kench because he has an element of range poke, and he can also completely negate the combo. When the AD carry gets knocked up, Devour is a very big punishing tool, and we've seen Alistars lose the trades on the back end. Well, Tahm Kench can guarantee that the front end won't one-shot the AD carry. Yeah,
and that's the biggest thing I feel. You know, you don't have a good choice in that lane anymore. All of a sudden, if it is a hyper carry, you want to delete them first. Tahm Kench is way too tanky. However, you know, there's just no good choice for that headbutt pulverize.
Absolutely. On the other side, too, or the other part of it, EDG lock in the Rek'Sai. This is something that we didn't really see yesterday, but was very popular earlier on.
Yeah, not at all in week 2. Didn't see a pick or ban. Clement was touching it on the analyst desk. He had a very high pick ban rate. I believe something along the lines of 75% in week 1, and then suddenly disappeared. But Clearlove is bringing it back.
Yeah, he's got an 83% win rate. He played that in Gragas in pretty much 92% of their games as well in the LPL. So that is definitely a pick that he will go back towards.
But so peculiar that Revolta, instead of opting for potential Elise, early aggression, gang potential, adding CC here, goes for the more sturdy Skarner with the level 6 kind of spike for the ganks. But it's quite a peculiar draft that neither side really prioritizes Elise.
Yeah, I really do find that strange because when you have a look at this draft, it's all based around mid-game pick now. But there's still things like the Ezreal left available that is so hard to pick off in these team fights.
And now Deft is looking for an answer to the Caitlyn Alistar. Does the signature Twitch hover, but I don't think it's going to come out. It's likely going to be something with at least a range element.
Yeah.
Jhin looks super likely on paper, but I'm liking the Caitlyn Alistar because Caitlyn blocks some of the weakness of an Alistar in lane, and when you combine them, you obviously have that combo and trap potential.
Yeah, we've seen INTZ picking pretty much for strong lanes and trying to cover up some of their weaknesses, but you know, is this the right decision? We'll have to find out. As the final lock-ins for EDG, it's going to be that Jhin, and it's followed up with a Rumble for Mouse.
But the Jhin pick is now at least protected by the Tahm Kench, and that makes it so EDG are not all in the laning phase, not picking a massive lane bully with a strong AD carry. They're picking some safety here for the mid game, making sure Def can stay alive, making sure he can shine in those team fights.
Yeah, and the one thing I love about Tahm Kench to QSS users is now all of a sudden only the TK needs a QSS, because as long as he has flash available and he's near one of his teammates when they do get dragged away by the Skarner, he's just able to grab and drag him back out. They're going to be completely fine. Interesting though that Mouse would go towards an AP top laner. I expected a hard tank to come out here, something like a Maokai to really shore up the team comp. However, he has gone to fight that lane.
That has been his tendency very often in the later stages in the LPL. However, if you look at the team comp with a tanky Rek'Sai, with a non-trading support like a Tahm Kench, EDG is likely looking for a little bit more damage and just engage in the team fights. Why they want to supplement that with a Rumble. A very good pick into the Jace too, very conventional answer to the Jace when Kennen is banned.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I like the fact that Rumble now gets the push in a lot of these matchups and also sets up ganks, especially when you're looking towards something like a Rek'Sai, incredibly well. If Clearlove does get ahead in his pathing in this game, there's a big target on Yang. Scout roaming up there, he's going to have to survive.
INTZ will have to be careful rather in the top side of the map here. We have the shove from the Rumble, but dangerous trades into the Jace. We have Syndra, which always has pressure on the Vladimir early, and the Skarner can't really influence. He has kind of one shot on the level 3 or 4 gank. He can still surprise, you know, if he gets a CC off, people can get surprised by the boost and the speed from a Skarner, but it's quite easy to dodge.
And this is where I want to see the respect coming out of EDG, because the only way that gank works is if he is behind you, so they need a ward up behind them, make sure they're not over pushing.
I think they've certainly learned their lessons from the last time they faced off, and now that's when you can call that a little bit of hubris. EDG definitely not going to take anything for granted this time around. And it's a dangerous composition to be playing into. We've seen some Skarners really be able to go off to start things off here. But we want to know who you guys think is going to come away with the victory here today. Be sure to let us know on Twitter. Hashtag EDGWin if you think the Chinese champs are going to take this one home, or hashtag INTZWin if you believe in Brazil. Hit us up at LOL Esports. We'll check those out later on in the game.
And you know, if history has shown us anything, it's that these two teams are much closer than the LPL team would be comfortable with, and INTZ had a beautiful performance last time. I want to see what they have prepared.
Yeah, gotta keep our eyes on the top lane and the jungle, but we shouldn't be surprised if suddenly Def and Mako whip something out and a solo Def happens in the bot lane. So many things to track here. Excited for this matchup.
Oh, it's going to be great, and definitely want to keep an eye on that bottom lane early on, but we will have to be watching the jungle matchup every lane. Who are we kidding? It's Worlds 2016. Group C, we're going to find out who makes it out today. It all starts right here with EDG versus INTZ.
And as they get onto the Rift, what you really have to look for is the creative level 1s that come out of the bottom lane of EDG, because Def Mako fight for vision control very well. And if they're able to disrupt the Caitlyn Alistar push, it puts the INTZ bottom lane on a big back foot.
Yeah, definitely pressure right there. Any team that has a tendency of aggressive level 1s should definitely scrim CLG, because they also have a penchant for that. Some really creative strategies. We see the early lane ward here. Teams just like knowing whether the enemies are starting camps or whether they're showing in the lane early here. So that's why you see these almost random wards in lane that really don't serve a purpose. It's to just spot somebody walking back to lane a fraction of a second sooner.
See if they can get something a little bit quicker, and INTZ going to give the respect deserved, but EDG are already waiting in that brush if they step too far forward. We've seen face jacks turn deadly before, but it might be a 3v3. No, they just walk away. A few pokes and no damage taken.
Spire obtained. That's 15 gold.
Yeah, that's worth.
It's as close as you can get to playing Dominion.
Ooh, too soon. All right, so as things settle into it, we talked about the early pressure that Scout should have on Talkers here with the Syndra pick. Let's see how it starts working out as we hit the mid lane.
Yeah, Talker's trying to get access to the wave early, which means if he has to turn around and trade with Scout, he's just going to eat a lot of minion damage here. Vladimir's trading pattern is basically charge up his Qs on the creeps, and then once it becomes empowered, get a good trade-off. But Scout's trading pattern basically means he wants to hit the range creeps with the spheres and Talkers at the same time. That is a kind of ideal scenario here for Syndra.
So what you should see over and over again is kind of Scout walking up when the Qs aren't charged, doing exactly that, putting down as much harass as he possibly can, whilst not missing out on CS. One thing I will say about Scout, he's a very good pushing mid lane. He actually has very good control over when the wave is going to crash and when he wants to leave the solo lane.
All right, keeping our eyes on the jungle stars here, we see Revolta going for what seems to be red into Raptors, into enemy blue, but look at this. Wolf Sprite spots him here a really creative jungle start from Clearlove here. He went Wolves into his other side, and that's a path if you ever fear being invaded here. And if you ever want to play against a Skarner, if you need somebody to play into a Skarner matchup, you want Clearlove because he is super experienced on that champion.
And it's also great if you think that your top lane is going to get dove off just a level 3 on top side for Skarner. It's a very risky
I mean, he'd have to flash over the wall.
Yeah, but you can see that Yang didn't get the push. We already mentioned how hard that is. And it looks like EDG now want access to that blue buff.
Yep, going in on it here. They do grab themselves a small golem, and they pick up the vision from the Scuttle Crab, still contesting for it. Making life a little bit hard for INTZ. They've definitely learned their lessons.
Yeah, really working well together here, EDG. They're using the push from both bot and mid to really aggressively contest that blue buff so early.
That's 4 members already in Revolta's jungle, and that's going to be taken away. See whether they just try and give it over to Scout. They're going to fight.
Oh, Jockster's going to get the knock up here, and they're going to have to throw it away. Exhaust onto Clearlove. Jockster has to flash on this one. EDG have the stronger skirmish in the early levels, and they're chasing down for Jockster. That is first blood to Clearlove.
And one more time, EDG with a very clever setup off their bottom lane push, pick up first blood.
Revolta did not have smite. It was so close for that blue buff as well. Scout threw it out, QE into auto attack to secure it, but there was disarray on INTZ. They were not used to having this much action happen this weirdly, this early in the game. And EDG was clearly prepared. They said, you know what, we have double push mid and bot. We have a wolf sprite to defend our left side of the map. We're going to aggressively invade and contest top right.
And you can see Scout here actually throws the buff at the Vladimir charging in, gets the stun. That means they've isolated the duo lane, and unfortunately there's just nowhere for Jockster to go. The juke means he's back in auto attack range. He falls down.
Burn a couple of summoners, but they end up trading for the kill. Definitely worth it in the end, and they already start to amass themselves
spotted
a good gold lead. As Revolta goes in to try and take out the blue buff. It is spotted by Clearlove, who doesn't quite have smite up. Still a dangerous place, and he decides to back off. This time, he cannot get as aggressive as he would like.
Yeah, that must have been a ward from the top laner here. So EDG, not only do they coordinate and engage on the right side of the map, they told Mouse to go ward to blue buff himself, and again they spot out Revolta. They're really reading INTZ here, and this Rek'Sai Skarner matchup is clearly being won by Clearlove and his teammates.
Yeah, it certainly is. And you can see that even though Mouse has fallen behind now in CS, that did secure another blue buff over for Scout, so he's going to be able to continue to push this advantage. And what we think should be a good lane for Vladimir, once it hits that item spike, is just going to be delayed a little bit more because now all the pressure is in the Syndra's hands.
Matchup is incredibly blue buff and Lost Chapter dependent. So when a Syndra gets access to both Chapter and blue buff, he can continuously push and bully Talkers at the same time here. Talkers wants to survive, get at least Negatron Cloaks there, and build up towards, you know, that Spirit Visage.
Yeah, he's got to not start eating those stuns as well. He will get the wave pushed towards him, but Scout's already amassed a decent gold lead on him, just individually. And you can see pinging down bottom right now, Scout and Clearlove, they want to go on a roam here.
This is another turret dive. Already they've pinged the turret, they've forced the wave in, they're going to use that push, and all of a sudden, Scout's level 6. This is looking bad.
Oh, they lay in wait. Just for Jockster and Macau, there is no way they're getting out of this one. Only flash for Macau, and he's gonna go down! Unleash the power, level 6. Jockster's running away as Mako tanks up the turret. He won't get very far though. He still has no summoners, and Def picks up a kill.
The cascading pressure from the mid push into a roam, jungler and mid lane working together. What a beautiful double sphere stun there as well.
Yeah, that was absolutely fantastic executed, but what I want to talk about is the communication. EDG is a team that has been learning Mandarin on their Korean members. You know, they have 2 hours of lessons a day, and you can see that is the payoff because that is a play set up 2 minutes in advance.
Yeah, what a scripted play here from the point of view of EDG. Everybody knew his role here. We were doubting Mouse in the top lane. We were talking about how he wanted to play too far forward, leave his mark on the World Championship. But right now, he just has to be a role player. He has to be passive in the top side while his team is leveraging the Champions League advantage. Look at this. Double roam. There's nothing Mikau and Jockster can do here. What a beautiful combo stun from Scout. And then Mako's tanking max range turret with the great health. It almost looks too easy.
Yeah, it certainly does. And Scout actually got both orbs to stun. The first one sets up perfectly for the Alistar. He throws the second one out for the Caitlyn on a mechanical micro level. That is so tough to do.
Yeah, and Revolta's trying to get something back by grabbing the Ocean Drake, but Clearlove is right behind him.
He's
every
pinged
single
out.
time.
They know about this. EDG is such on top of the information game here in this game. INTZ, they're feeling kind of choked out.
Yeah, the problem is with the information on the map, I mean, top pushed in, mid pushed in, bottom not anywhere near a turret. If they're going to get an objective back, the only one available is that dragon, and there's only the smallest window to do it because your bottom lane is so far behind.
Super clean game here, game 1. Almost a complete opposite from what we saw from INTZ versus EDG in their first game in week 1.
Yep, and it has been every other lane but top, but that might change with Deft and Mako moving up towards their Yang. He was the one who was the beneficiary of a lot of help last time around, but he is about to be in a whole world of trouble. There goes the equalizer. Yang knows the game is up. He's stunned. He doesn't flash this one. He's going to burn it now, but Mako and Scout and Deft are right on top of him. Throws down the hammer. Deft gets eaten up, saves his life. Mako is able to keep Deft in this.
And another playoff Scout's roam. He just keeps shoving up mid lane and keeps leaving into Fog of War, and INTZ is not respecting it.
And this is why so many players out there think Syndra first pick is so incredibly strong. We've seen it fail in a couple of games when people are not leveraging the roam well enough, but it will always have to push on Vladimir. Right now, Scout has to be careful though.
That's going to be the Hemo Plague flash by Scout. He's not going to go down from that, and Talkers and Revolta will not chase.
Actually, really nice max range flash there. He burns the Summoner spell as early as he possibly can. Knew the Skarner was coming in as well. But one more time, that's a kill picked up, and there's already a 3,000 gold lead.
But just look at the arena map. Yeah, Pink Ward securing one bush. Yang should technically flash here as he sees the W come out, but you think he can buy more time, but then he gets 4-man Dolph here. INTZ is not ready. There's no cross-map play, and because with this very roam-centric playstyle, we actually ignore the fact that Rek'Sai has a built-in global, so he becomes a pseudo split pusher in the bot lane, and he can move around the map so quickly here. Very mobile composition from EDG.
And that's exactly why there was no cross map. Already, Clearlove had gone down into the bottom lane to secure that farm. So the fact that there's a global coming out, there's a 4-man squad roaming into what is a 1v4 lane, just meant that there was no play here.
Dogcloud Revolta needing that level 6 power spike to really get his first gank off. He just hit level 6, but EDG is already looking at a 3,000 gold lead, 4 kills in the lead. And the first brick has been taken here. They're challenging another boob up here. What's INTZ gonna do to get back to this game?
There is so little, it seems. They're down so much gold right now. As you said, they're going to be losing out on another dragon. And a big part of it has actually been Clearlove as well. He's sitting so much more gold over Revolta, and this is just the polar opposite of the first game we saw. You can see that EDG clearly took these lessons to heart. If there was any doubt left after what they did in the latter half of week 1.
Yeah, it certainly was. You know, when you talk about, Clearlove, he's got Rek'Sai this time. This was his most comfortable jungler behind Gragas. And losing out on Gragas, you were like, what does this actually do for the mid game of EDG? You saw the bad side, I guess, in the first game against INTZ. Now you're seeing him back on comfort, being able to control that early game and the pace and tempo at which this game is going to be played.
Yeah, I think you guys said it great, that it's just like looking like a movie script at this point. EDG are having absolutely no trouble. 10 minutes into this game, they have a very, very comfortable lead. Dragons, first brick, gold, kills, everything. Every checkbox, they've got it. And they have, as you guys said in Champion Select, a really solid hard engage.
But you should also look at the things they do on Brusher that they don't have vision, but because they're extrapolating information. They have 2 deep wards at the enemy wolves, basically on the right side of the map. They don't spot anybody there or in the bot lane. Observers panning out. Really, these wards give you information that there's nobody there, which means there's only one part where the enemies can be, which is in the left side of the map. That's why EDG was so hesitant to step into that jungle, because they didn't want to walk into the Alistar and the Skarner.
And this is actually setting Mouse up for success. As a split pusher, you need that information to actually be able to push forward up to that tier 2. All of a sudden, he saw Jace backs away, goes back, picks up Krogs, not in any danger for a counterplay to happen on the map.
INTZ just haven't been able to find an opening. EDG are keeping the distance as safe as they possibly can, and later swapping up to the top was matched completely by Deft and Mako. And now EDG are looking to collapse again. There's a tower here, but that didn't stop them last time.
Yeah, and EDG, they're making moves in full vision, sometimes telling INTZ, we're going to walk top lane, there's nothing you can do. They obviously base it on a lot of river control that they have here. They had a few pink wards out in this river. They really just want to push up the mid lane with Scout, then move him over. Yes, they can't kill Vladimir one-on-one, but they don't need to. They're really playing well around their advantages, and they're letting them cascade into different lanes.
That's just why they wanted to secure the 2v2 again. I mean, when you have won that 2v2 so incredibly hard, when they swap to the top side of the map, there's no objective bottom regardless. I actually think this is an opportunity where INTZ probably should have sent the 2 members bottom lane, look for a teleport play and just trade objectives, because right now, in a raw fight, they just don't have the items to go with EDG.
That was such a big card, losing out on that 2v2. I mean, you can talk about players specifically, because Deft and Mako, known as one of the best bot lanes, if not the best bot lane at this tournament. Still, you match the Tahm Kench up against the Alistar, you start to see why they value this as a different pick. Clearlove moves up towards topside, they force them off, and this is going to be another tower.
Because Scout is a river again, and they don't know where he is exactly because he's hiding in Fog of War. And every time Scout disappears from the mid lane, you got to bet your money on it that Talkers will be communicating to his team, guys, this Syndra's roaming. He has a QE from out of Fog of War. Be careful. And they're just using pressure to disincentivize people from even considering defending their objective.
And I think further to that, you have to look at what Mako's doing at the same time, because he's ducking into brushes that he knows aren't warded. And if a Tahm Kench and a Syndra meet up, especially if Clearlove's on his way, that is just instant global pressure that you must respect. And EDG is playing this to a T.
And Jockster is still level 5 on that Alistar. He's been thinking of pulling the trigger, going for a flash combo, but he's playing against the Tahm Kench. We talked about it in Champions League. A simple Devour can negate that entire flash combo, and suddenly it looks like INTZ is running out of options.
Yeah, they really have very few. Their composition was going to be very pick-centered in the mid-game, but unfortunately the mid-games arrived for EDG, and INTZ are still stuck in the early. They are so far behind in this, the only way they have back into it is to try to get a quick pick. But you have the Tahm Kench. It's denying so much, as well as these stellar map rotations from EDG.
And another buff here contested by EDG. Blue buff, red buff, blue buff. Take their own on the back end here. Look at the experience as well here. Revolta is barely even with Clearlove, but some other members are pulling ahead, I feel. And it still is pretty even, actually. So it feels like EDG should be further ahead experience-wise. But at least INTZ is doing a good job catching up.
Yeah, at this point, INTZ kind of have to hope that EDG just gets sick and food poisoning from eating all of those blue buffs and red buffs. There's really not much more left. Yang does secure a turret that gives some much-needed gold to them.
Yeah, Yang's actually up 30 CS, so whilst we have been complimenting the map play, Yang has slowly built himself up a 1v1 lead, which you have to give respect to the top lane of INTZ. We said if there is an area they're going to take advantage of, it would be that. But at the same time, you have to say Mouse this time around is just letting him have it.
Yeah.
He understands that all he needs is the equalizer. Let the Jace get a little bit ahead. It is not needed.
And the curtain call opens up, and they throw the equalizer. All of a sudden, a massive collapse. Revolta's here. Macau's going to heal, but that's not going to keep him alive for much longer. They throw everything on him as he's slowly struggling away. Jockster getting swallowed by Mako, and Mouse will pick up the kill. 1 for EDG.
But actually a lot burnt. When you have a look at that, you thought Macau would fall down, Jockster would fall down. However, Revolta able to get in there with some clutch slows and save them.
But it feels like EDG is always fighting with a purpose. That wasn't just a random pickup. On the back end there, they force them to base. They will get this Herald right here, and at the same time, they moved over Syndra to the bottom lane, but they have to back off. So maybe they miscalculated a little bit on the engage there. The idea was right, get it to 1 or 2 kills in the top lane, brute force that, current call and the carpet comes out. But at least INTZ held off on that play.
Yeah, things are looking pretty good for you when your worst case scenario is EDG is only getting 1 kill and then nothing else.
Yeah, there was cross-map play though, a little bit chip damage to bot lane turret. Yang is kind of been isolated here, and if you look stylistically, if there's something you want to do against an INTZ lineup, it is find a strategy that somehow does not involve Yang in the game. Yes, he has a CS lead, but he hasn't even played League of Legends at this point. He's been playing Farm Simulator in the top lane and now in the bot lane, while EDG is just winning the 4v4.
And the longer this game goes, the more irrelevant that's going to become, because there's so much damage from such long range that Yang's not really going to be able to participate in these team fights if the gold lead continues to extend. You've got the stuns that are going to come out from Scout, you've got the equalizer, you've got the curtain call. Realistically, I mean, Jace wants to play the poke battle, then be able to dive in and assassinate, but EDG's comp just plays the game from such long distance that that's not going to be a reality.
Yeah, when you're getting out range, that's also pretty rough. Mouse has taken a few cheeky shots towards Jockster, but he knows enough to respect the distance. That pink ward that was cleared away, spotting Revolta. Meanwhile, EDG secure a less than contested tower in the mid. Parting shot from Yang, though.
Yeah, he can poke, but there's just a lack of follow-up here. Right now,
here we go.
Combo into trap. This may get ugly.
Oh, headbutt pulverized. Equalizer's on. Macau standing right into it, but Mouse is going to go down. Jockster burning. They have to trade aggro here, so they will secure that. That's the first kill for INTZ, but they trade it for another dragon.
But if finally INTZ actually make a cross-map play, I mean, you see EDG, they want to play towards the dragon, they want to play towards mid lane turret, so INTZ send Revolta top and pull the trigger on a dive. That's well played.
Yeah, very, very smart player here. Looking at how they concede the bot side of the map. They traded for a kill on a tower in the top lane. Right now, they need brute gold. They don't care about the stats that this dragon gives because they just need money in the bank right now. But Yang stuck in the bot lane playing 2v2, getting engaged right now.
Oh boy, has to burn that flash, followed by Clearlove. The knockup is there. The stun does not connect, but Tahm Kench is coming in hot, and they don't even need the curtain call. Mako with the finisher.
Yeah, really nicely played. I mean, we can compliment cross-map plays as much as we want, but Yang didn't respect the 4-man squad that had just taken Dragon, and they're going to give up a tier 2.
That's also the strength of that Tahm Kench support right here. The Abyssal Forge can deliver and make a seeming 2v1 into an instant 4v1, and it wasn't enough for Yang to hold, and another tower is getting put so low. INTZ with massive objective pressure.
Yeah, and Jockster nearly bought it there as well. He had his flash, but he held on to it for all of that. INTZ do manage to force them off, but not before a lot of damage was done. And here's how it all began.
Yeah, Yang knows people are around. He's aggressively defending this wave. Tries to get out, respects the flash, honestly. The knockup, it's too little, but then suddenly out of nowhere, there's an Abyssal Voyage, and Random Lick plus Curtain Call would mean guaranteed death there for Yang. So hard to spot, but at the highest level, you need to respect these rotations.
Yeah, and I don't even think it's about spotting it. It's just that if you've seen a member, one member die to 3 members, there is always a cross-map play available, and you should respect it and just defend a turret and back away when multiple members show up. That was not the case here.
Certainly not. In EDG, they know they have the power. They're going to use it. Talker's forced to pool back towards his own base. They've invested in a lot of pink wards here. INTZ trying to spot the movements of EDG, but it is just seeming like too little and too late.
Gotta keep tracking Yang though. He has the damage. He almost finished building that Hex Drinker. The good shock blast from the flank that can't be soaked up by the tanks could be enough to put Scout or Deft low enough on HP that they don't really want to fight. There's no QSS finish, so Revolta could turn the tides.
Yeah, Clear Love trying to take out this blue buff here. Should be able to secure it. Smite it, and Deft just instantly goes on. Macau going down, slowed by the equalizer, and Jockster's getting barbecued here. Has to run away. That is another pickup for EDG, and it looked like it was no sweat.
When your support just turns around and lets you die, that's when you know you're behind and you're done for. Jockster wanted none of that. He just was, he turned into a KDA player right there, died 3 times, and was like, I'm not dying for my AD carry again.
And one more time they do it with top lane set up, so that means another objective will fall right now for EDG. Credit one more time to INTZ. Yang was still bottom lane, he's still pushing in, trying to get gold for his squad. But at a certain point, you just have to group as 5 and try and fight, because they're like a wrecking ball right now through your base.
And this is not what their composition wanted to do, but it doesn't matter when you're already being pushed in sub 20 minutes. INTZ trying for a desperate charge to push them off. Deft in front, but he's still a very safe distance away. Meanwhile, Yang continuing to push on the bottom, but he is met by Mouse.
And you know, Mouse, this is all he's going to do. He's just going to keep catching waves. He's going to use the equalizer in the team fight, then he's going to go back to base and catch the wave until he's actually in a position to be dove. It's not going to be all that much difficult, but this is another look at the red buff.
Yeah, they try and contest some objectives here, but it's actually quite interesting. Once the zone comes out from a curtain call, what 2 champions want to do is they want to hide behind each other, and then actually equalizer is a really good stylistic counter because it just punishes you for bunching up next to each other. At one point, Mikau knows he's done for, sends Jockster away, but it's just a really strong opener. So EDG, if they're not contested in the fights and they can actually punish you for running away, they can do so much damage.
And Clearleft just comes in and says, that's mine. Revolta wants to fight him over this one, 11 to 11, and in comes Yang, but Clearlove is speedy enough to get away, and he would be met by Deft and Mako the sooner this one goes, and that's just the story of it. You cannot even farm your own jungle at this point if you're INTZ.
And that's the thing about these global comps. I mean, Rek'Sai and Tahm Kench, 2 of the more, I guess, underutilized globals in their role. You use them for completely different reasons. I mean, heavy ganking out of the Rek'Sai as well as good vision control. This is a brave contest. They're very far behind, and Yang's still top lane.
Yeah, INTZ is getting tired of getting everything stolen in their jungle here, so they're getting more decisive. Tom is obviously... Oh, there's that combo.
And Clearlove smiting. So he gets it away in the end.
Doesn't really value a blue buff too much on the Rek'Sai. Scout being denied it in itself is decent for INTZ. They're definitely looking for the silver lining on whole cloud of problems.
Yeah, they certainly are, and I mean, you could just see that the frustration was starting to show because the members had grouped up around that objective, but Vladimir was like, guys, I'm level 13, I'm also up 20 CS, maybe we can stall this one out, but the bottom lane in the jungle did not want to let that happen. Tokka's wanted nothing to the fight, and Macau, Jockster, Revolta, they're all in there.
Well, it's unfortunate for INTZ just falling so far behind. They need to find anything they can to come back into it. And you almost got to wonder if maybe some of their ban priority was a little bit wonky. They did ban away the Aurelia that they didn't actually have any trouble dealing with when they last met. The Poppy was something that's made big plays, but the globals they left open here. Obviously hadn't seen as much Tahm Kench, but that and Rek'Sai are really turning the tides.
Honestly, it feels like there's a lack of proactivity on the side of INTZ, and it is based in their draft. They have the losing matchup despite being purple side. They have a level 6 power spike jungler that got outpaced because of the roaming factor in the mid lane, and they're looking to make plays. Revolta still has yet to use his ulti in the entire game here. Jockster denied his level 6 very early on, and now has the ulti out.
Yeah, they haven't had an opening to use Revolta's ultimate. and the poke that they'd have just isn't been enough, and Scout is going to be able to walk away from that of Yang as well.
In their credit, the gold advantage has stayed relatively stable. It went from a 3,000 gold to maybe 2,500 for the longest time here. Now it's getting increased again here, but one good fight for INTZ could swing the control. Let's not forget that Vladimir scales incredibly well into the lane.
Yeah, and that's what you have to look at. You have to look at the fact that the solo laners are actually standing up relatively well. In fact, Vladimir has a CS and experience advantage right now because of how active Scout has been around Submister.
But they need that fight eventually, because every time they wait, EDG racks up another dragon, and if they had a slightly better RNG, they could be sitting on a couple of fire dragons here. They have the tools to combat the poke. You know, every 8 seconds that you're not hit, that Ocean Drake's gonna kick in, despite if you're doing damage or not. So Yang really needs to land repetitive poke, otherwise the double Ocean is gonna heal them up again.
Not to mention they're a little faster now with the Cloud Drake that they've been able to secure. Trap line down, and EDG just don't even care about it. They'll be able to polish off that tower. 5-3 in that objective mark. They are still running this one, and they get themselves 5K ahead in the gold game. Meanwhile, though, INTZ are trying to push on top.
Yeah, they're looking for a crossplay, but very good wards do spot them out. So now all of a sudden, EDG can continue to push.
Yeah, this Rumble is looking to cancel their backs. If anything, hopefully EDG can push on 4v3 them, but the minions evaporate too quickly, and the wall of traps is too much to get through here. So EDG likely gonna base and look for more deep vision. Yep. Need to see and follow Mako and how he's going to distribute those wards alongside the map so EDG can keep pressuring it.
Macau working double time with those traps, trying to make sure that EDG cannot push in, but it is looking like a slow march to victory for them now. Clear Love will run into Talkers in the mid lane, and nothing will come of it, just some cleared away minions.
And now they have shoved bottom lane in so far. You would expect the vision to be picked up, put into the red side of the map, try and steal that one away, and ultimately try and deny vision to set up for your Baron. When you have long-range engage like the Equalizer, like Syndra, as well as the Jhin, you can control vision and just go to town on that objective.
Yeah, EDG are looking to do more of the same. Lane assignments will switch. Mouse will go to the bottom lane. They'll put the 3-man squad in the top lane. Syndra is not a side lane mage. You're playing essentially a 1-1-3. Where you then guide Mako and Clearlove into the jungle. Clearlove this time not playing Sidestone Rek'Sai. He has in the past, but he's gone for the full tank pit build router, so he's going to be the bodyguard for Mako to help him get those deep wards in.
Yeah, and I think that the one advantage, even though they can't play 1-3-1, is the fact that Mako can take 2 members to that mid lane and, you know, swing it if they do want to get very aggressive on Scout, as well as a mid lane turret still being up. So really, aggression is negated.
Yeah, and that reason exactly is why Tahm Kench was lauded as probably the tier 1 support pick coming into Worlds. Obviously, within a couple of weeks, the metagame can shift here, but that was one of his major strengths back in the game. He can be everywhere at once with good positioning in the river. Fog of War control is paramount here for INTZ. They have a Scuttle Crab left in front of Baron, but once that fades, they have no vision whatsoever in the river.
And definitely informs their really, really insanely good control on the map here.
That's exactly why they're posturing around the mid lane here. INTZ want to pressure mid lane push to force EDG out, but EDG is kind of aggressively staying in that river area.
Jockster is going to have to throw down the Unbreakable Will and tanking up the Curtain Call. He's got 2 of them now. The third, final, 4th one hits. In goes Clear Love. They want to finish the job here. Should be able to do it. Clear Love picking up the kill, shredding through the tank. Talker's on the retreat path, trying to 2-step his way to freedom. And he might just get out for now. 1 kill, though, picked up, and that's part of the front, big part of the front line gone for INTZ.
And look how non-committal EDG's comp is. They just keep him at arm's length the whole way. They chip them down. Finally, the ultimate runs out. Now they have access to that mid lane.
Uh-oh, Revolta has to burn his flash, and Scout finishes him off anyways! EDG are just stiff-arming INTZ on this. Talkers with a desperate charge. In the pool he goes, and he nearly goes down. Hemoplague does not do a thing to EDG, and they get some chip damage on top of it.
Yeah, Talkers heals up at the end of that play. Dropped very low here. We saw Mouse trying to thwart Yang in the bot lane, because that's a saving grace. If Yang could somehow win that 1v1, they have a pressure point on that, but right now, as long as Mouse can hold, it's looking very, very grim for INTZ.
Yeah, it certainly is, and I mean, EDG just want to keep taking the maximum here. Ballsy play on the blue buff.
Uh-oh, Jockster, we've seen this before. He's going down. Scout finishes the job, this time in Talkers on the retreat path. It's the same old tune.
And that is the power of that gold lead that we were talking about. Mikau right now is under pressure. 1.
He knows he's a dead man.
2.
Oh, and then the flash.
And
last one won't hit. All right, well, he's able to get out of harm's way that time around, but this gold gap just keeps on growing.
Yeah, and it's so centered in the tanks as well. Clearlove is so far ahead of the other tanks that when INTZ kind of trade tank aggro on EDG, Clearup's not even getting chipped while they're burning through an ulted Alistar here. Just the sheer amount of damage coming out outside of the Chinese team here is just overwhelming for the Brazilians.
And this is the thing for Tockers right now. He needs to be able to get onto the backline because you can see when he hits Clearlove, it does nothing. But at the same time, you don't want to have to be able to rush because Clearlove as a soul tank is going to do much more than the Vladimir right now. So INTZ backs against the wall, have really no good options left. They can play the scaling card, but how do you keep EDG out?
You can't. As long as EDG played perfect right here, and that's what we need to judge. How well can they close? Correct lane assignments again. See Def picking up a little bit of farm here. It's going to group. Looks like they're centering around the next dragon here. EDG very dragon focused this game. They could move over to the left side and build on the foundation of pink wards that they have in the top left river, but they know they're so far ahead, and they know that barring any major mistakes, they will not kind of throw the game, so they're moving over their vision on the right side of the map, playing for that next Mount Dragon.
Yeah, I think that the reason that they want to play around that so much is that the only way INTZ gets back into this game is a freak Baron accident. So why even play over the objective? Continue to accumulate your lead, get the Mountain Dre, and then look for your final play.
And they open up the curtain call once again. Clearlove, he's just there. You don't even need to do anything to put the fear into INTZ at this point, so shredding through a few more of their health bars, and Jockster a little bit lower now. And as you said, non-committal, they can just keep firing away. Yang's the only one who can really return at this range. Macau, maybe a little bit, but we've seen him get caught oh so many times. They just keep marching and pushing and taking down this tower slowly. The damage, the equalizer. Scout is on a rampage now. And they finish off Jockster, or look to do it in just a few more moments. Clearlove, and that's a double kill for Scout. They just keep on going. Talkers, he's trying for more, but Scout is just wrecking through the team. Clearlove will fall. Scout will pick up the Quadra. Can he get the final? No, he can't. Talkers with a big shutdown.
Yeah, and one more time, Scout goes over the wall, aggressive. Talkers keeps them out, but EDG come up huge in the team fight underneath their turret with a pretty suboptimal equalizer out of house, to be honest, because it left him in big harm's way. They're still able to pick up a clean team fight.
Yeah, Mao's prioritizing the early Zanias as well, both for the lane matchup and both as well for his role within the team. EDG still went out 4-4-2 in that exchange. All 4 kills going to Scout here, but the way he positions those spears, especially right here, the double stun here on Revolta, this is not the first time he's achieved this. He's just playing masterfully in these team fights.
All right, so the equalizer is good, but his positioning is very bad because he's stuck underneath the turret. Means Tom Kench can't dive with the rest of the team.
He gets dropped off into the wall by Mako here, so he walks back in. How does he die? Does he die? Oh, he makes it out.
He makes it out. He's one of the survivors. He's one of the lucky few.
Kind of crazy to think that that is, by the numbers, the worst fight EDG has had this game.
Yeah, INTZ has only picked up 3 kills, 3 towers in this entire game.
Big gold gap right now, 8,000 as we approach the 30-minute mark here, and everyone is eyeing the Baron. INTZ are the ones that are getting pretty nervous about it, though. EDG still playing out very cleanly despite that last fight.
But throughout the tournament, we've definitely seen mixed performances on this Syndra pick, and we've been shown here by Scout how to truly utilize it. 1 to 6, you don't have kill pressure, but you have push pressure. So what do? You influence other lanes. Then later on, as you set up for the sieges, it is all about the sphere placements. You drop 3 in front of you, and then you shove them forward, radiating outwards, getting the entire lane in stun range, and then you catch whatever you hit.
Absolutely, and more to Scout as well. They played Pawn the last time these 2 guys met up, and it has just looked oh so clean. Pawn's no slouch, but I mean, Scout has just been magnificent in this game.
Yeah, it certainly has. I mean, Pawn is still a great team fighter, but the reason they like to use Scout is his ability to leave lane early. He's willing to play that team-focused game. There's now Yang being caught off.
Okay, Mouse is a little bit low, and Yang thinks he might be able to trade 1 for 1, but that's not happening. The gang squad's arrived, and he's dead.
The zoning equalizer, the best of all skill shots.
Tried to give him a red carpet to run down, and he just refused to be invited to the ball. Yang's that kind of guy.
And as a result, he'll have 35 more seconds to warm back up at Fountain. EDG can start to pull the trigger here if they want. There is Revolta in the back. This could still be dangerous, but they want to try and fight it out.
Baron's jumping rather quickly here, 7,000 right now, down to 6K here, but on the back end, the re-engage comes out.
And the teleport for Mouse, the curtain call is open, keeps on going. Jockster still trying to push him out. Mouse looking for a flank on in. They want to find Talkers for the damage. Macau keeping a respectful distance. They've got the stun. They can eat him right on up. Mako's there. Jockster's going down, and Talkers comes into the back line, but Deft says, no way, and they are right onto the Baron.
And EDG just looks so controlled in these team fights. They're not overreaching. Mouse this time zones away 2 people, and they just clean up everyone else.
Yeah, Yang's coming in with a teleport. He needs a good combo here on Scout, baby.
Oh, Scout just finishes the job. Right back on Baron. They go in for seconds, and this would be a miracle steal for Revolta. He is in full vision, and EDG are just controlling, not finishing off the Baron. They are waiting for the moment.
This is such great calm play here from
Take
EDG.
it out.
Completely unexpected, honestly, from a team outside of the LPL Legion to keep that Baron on 1.5k HP. The communication required to do that is so impressive.
And you can see the clean burst comes out more importantly, and this is why we're so hyped about the EDG lineup. One more time, disciplined play. They layer the CC, open up with the ulti, and because of this location of teleport, there is no way for Mikau or Revolta to rejoin.
Hey, look at the zone. Revolta and Mikau are so stuck on outside of the fight. Do we go in or out? And then calmly, whatever's in front gets finished off by EDG. No panic. Calm and collect. They'll move into the Baron here. And again, we can't stress this enough. The fact that you realize Skarner has flash, we can't get to him. We're missing our abilities. And they keep the Baron outside of burst range for the INTZ team. And eventually they realize they can't kill the Skarner. So they say, you know what, guys? We need to make something happen. So they call the burst there at the right frame.
Yeah, this is textbook how you prevent a Baron steal. Just waiting, buying the time, and Revolta in full vision. There's no way you can.
Yeah, the second the Jace EQ misses and gets soaked up by members, the call comes out. Skarner doesn't have enough to challenge us. Everybody hit the Baron, and the perfect smite for Philip.
Not to mention level difference,
yeah,
too.
The 3-level difference means that that's what they were waiting for. They were waiting for the EQ insta-flash to try and pick that one up, but unfortunately not going to come out. Good disciplined play. Now the siege really begins in earnest.
Yeah, this is looking like the end game. Clearlove does get knocked up, but Jockster, oh, they open the turn call on him. Mikau's already low, has to net behind the entire team. He's got bodyguards, but they are starting to drop. This tower is going to be open, and they can finish off Revolta. No, he wiggles his way to freedom. That's going to be one tower, but they've got to go back and heal up on the fountain, and meanwhile, their inhibitor's gone. All right, Talkers. Going a little bit too deep into this one. Has to pool his way to freedom, or is it? Proto Belt, in goes Jockster once again. Desperation fight. Talkers tries to go one more time, but he gets exhausted. Death takes down Jockster, and there just is not enough damage left in his composition. Yang on the side trying to find the kills. Scout just picks up yet another onto Mikau. The damage is gone. Talkers is gonna go down just out of his pool, and Death with a dominating kill.
EDG, they make it look easy, but there's a couple really sweet plays in that fight. That flash from Death, another good double spear connect from the Syndra. So well oiled, so great teamwork as well. What a magnificent performance from EDG.
Absolutely, it only took them 35 minutes, and they have silenced any more critics we would have had about them. EDG take down INTZ.
And you have to look at the fashion that they do it in. I mean, being able to pick up a controlled, decisive victory where at every stage of the game, they were the proactive team.
And probably the favorite play still for me is the level 1. The fact that Philip has the presence of mind saying, you know what, I'll be leaning on the right side of the map with my plays and pressure. So what do I want to do? I want to secure the left side just to gain information. And he starts with the Wolf Smite, moves over. The Revolta invade gets forwarded because he suddenly is trying to jungle while somebody's watching you. It's really annoying when that Wolf Sprite is kind of watching you, so he has to get out of the jungle. Then Mouse dropped the ward there. Really just working as a unit from EDG. Impressive how they combine all these wards. So basically they have a toolkit of 5 trinkets, a couple of pushing laners, and they use it to completely choke out INTZ.
Yeah, and I don't want to take anything away from INTZ. You know, they did...
EDG did enough of that already.
EDG just, yeah, completely throttled these guys, gave them almost no openings.
And I think the one strength they did have was that big CS advantage on Yang, but they could just never utilize it in team fights. And when you're